What's up, Ravens fans? Time to hear from you guys in our Ravens Mailbag segment. Lots of good questions this week as training camp has officially concluded and the Ravens are set to head off to Indianapolis for some joint practices ahead of that preseason game coming up Monday night. So let's just jump into them. The first question comes to us from Owen Likely on Twitter, and the question is, if RG3 continues to impress in training camp and preseason games, is there a chance the Ravens attempt to trade him to a team where he has a better chance of starting?
Yes, I think there is an opportunity for that, or there could be at least. You know, the Ravens, they're going to decide whether they need to keep three quarterbacks, I think mainly based on the way Lamar Jackson plays. If Lamar looks good enough to be Joe Flacco's primary backup, then I don't think they will keep three quarterbacks, regardless of how well RG3 plays in the preseason. And he's played well, to Owen's question. I think, though, another team who maybe has an injury at quarterback, or maybe they just don't really feel that great about their backup, they're going to look at RG3 and say, you know what? This guy's proven it that after a year out of the NFL, he's very capable of being a number two, maybe even challenging for a starting quarterback job. So I think the Ravens, if they determine he's not right for them, could kick the tires on RG3.
What about taking this a little broader? You know, trades are always something that we like to talk about. The Ravens have not done a ton of that at the end of training camp and going into the regular season, but I'm curious if you think that there could be a trade for any of the other positions on this team.
I think the Ravens have wanted to do more of that. I think that they would ideally, you know, there's tough cuts that happen every single year. Ideally, you don't have to cut that player. You can trade them and get a little something in return. I look at it three positions for the Ravens right now where I think they have a lot of depth and could maybe part with somebody. One being wide receiver, Brashad Perryman. Let's just talk about him. You know, maybe he doesn't fit on this 53-man roster because of the emergence of some of these other guys, including the rookie wide receivers. But another team out there might have a need for a field-stretching kind of speedster, and they say, you know what, maybe a change of scenery for the former first-round pick. Maybe we'll send a pick the Ravens' way for Brashad Perryman. That could be a possibility. Outside linebacker. Look at all the youth and depth there, right? Tyus Bowser, Tim Williams, KC, Za'Darius, a lot of guys there, and even cornerback. You know, the Ravens have more depth at cornerback, I think, than they ever have. Stanley Jean-Baptiste, he's been practicing really well. Does he fit in there, or is he a guy maybe that they could trade?
Yeah, so it'll be something to watch over the next couple of weeks for sure. So let's keep the questions rolling. This one comes to us from Twitter. The question is, does Orlando Brown Jr. have a good chance of getting the starting right tackle spot? Well, I do think that he has a good chance. Right now, if the season were to start today, it would be James Hurst out there at right tackle. James has mostly been playing guard during training camp, but Marshall Yanda's back on the field now. He's working his way into those 11-on-11 drills, so it's obviously going to be Yanda at right guard, and then there's a battle between James Hurst and Orlando Brown Jr. out there at the right tackle spot. Really what it comes down to is whether the Ravens feel like Brown's ready for the job. Yeah, is he ready to step up and be that guy from day one? I think it could be a situation where maybe the Ravens give Hurst the start going into the season. They see how he plays. Does he play well? Keep in mind, too, I want to say this with James Hurst. He's not played a ton of right tackle. He was a left tackle earlier in his career. He played left guard. Yeah, he played left guard last year. He's played one game at right tackle. So it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for him, just like it is for Orlando Brown. So I do think that Orlando Brown will start some games at right tackle at some point this year. Whether it's week one, I think that may not be the case.
Yeah. The last question comes from Cody Kavanaugh, and the question is, could Nico Siragusa or Alex Lewis still win the starting center job?
A lot of conversation about the O-line here.
Yeah, exactly. There's some concerns out there. No, I honestly think that this is Matt Skura's job. I don't think that there's been any evidence otherwise. I mean, Nico's done a little bit at practice. Alex Lewis got a very brief trial there, but the Ravens kind of quickly went back to Skura. Right now, I don't see any challengers for Matt Skura, even one with Marshall Yanda back in the lineup. You know, the question was going to be, well, could that bump James Hurst to left guard and move Alex Lewis to center? That hasn't been the case. So, you know, Matt Skura, I think, is a player. He's a natural center. That's what he was at Duke. That's his best position. He proved last year, filling in for Yanda, that he's a capable starter. He's a solid player. And I think he's different than Ryan Jensen. He's not quite as big. Doesn't have that same kind of nasty mentality, kind of trash-talking guy. But that doesn't mean that's the only way you can get the job done. Skura's very smart, and I think that he can be a very good starter for the Ravens at center.
All right, so that's all the time for your questions this week. But as always, we'd love to hear from you guys, so send in those questions on social media every single week using the hashtag RavensMailbag. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.